something that's new and good in your life? Yeah. So we're going to do this every week, so be prepared if you had trouble thinking of something. No, it's going to come back around next week. There's so much that's new and good. And for Church in the Wild, what's new and really good is that we have a carpooling van coming out every week. So next week you can sign up again if you rode in the van, or if you're interested in saving gas, feel free. And in addition, next week we're going to have a new volunteer here ready to help the kids. So after the nature connection time, if any kids would like, they can go with Tati, is her name, and do something more active and fun nearby so that parents maybe can have a breather. Yeah, I see there's some excitement about that. So that will, again, be every week. She's going to start out as a volunteer. We're hoping to be able to pay her as a staff person for doing all that amazing work. But we're really excited to have those two services to make it easier for everybody to enjoy this time. And then in 2 weeks, we have our food rescue workday on the 26th. Oh, next Saturday. Miscalculated that one. March 26th. From 12:30 to 3 at 85 Walnut. So you can come anytime and help them hand out free food to people that need it. That was going to be thrown away. So it's a really cool organization. We also have some retreats coming up. There's information you can get about all of that at the sign-in table. If you didn't sign in on your way in, do so on your way out. There are blankets over there if you aren't sitting close enough to a heater. You can grab a blanket or tissues. You know, you guys know. So that's what's going on. Thanks for sharing what's new and good with you. And now we're going to start officially and get into it.
Welcome, beloved creature, to the sacred space. Here, as we honor creation and the one who created it, may we feel the sacred presence. May we reconnect to the earth, to one another, and to ourselves. And may we be renewed in body and spirits to be conduits of love. Let's use what we've been given to build an altar honoring the Creator. You're invited to go get something from nature and put it on our altar as we sing together.
This is nightingale, back from his winter wander, has been made singing master over the birds. The trees reach out with congratulations. The soul goes dancing through the king's doorway. Anemones blush because they have seen the rose naked. Spring, the only fair judge, walks in the courtroom, and several December thieves steal away. Last year's miracles will soon be forgotten. New creatures whirl in from non-existence. Galaxies scattered around their feet. Have you met them? Do you hear the blood of Jesus running in your cradle? A single narcissus flower has been appointed inspector of kingdoms. A feast is set. Listen, the wind is pouring wine. Love used to hide inside images, but no more. The orchard hangs out its lanterns. The dead come stumbling by in shrouds. Nothing can stay bound or be imprisoned. You say, end this poem here and wait for what's next. So I will. Poems are rough notations for the music that we love.
What we need is here. 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 What we need is What we need is What we
So our theme for the Sunday, besides being spring and coming back in person, is also music. And you'll hear a little bit more about why. But that means our wisdom for today is a song. So how can I keep from singing? I, in the Wednesday email, attributed it to an unknown friend with a capital F, also known as Quakers. They prefer to be called friends. And then, upon doing a little bit of research, discovered they actually know who it was. It was some Baptist called Robert Lowry who wrote it. But the Quakers adopted it as kind of their hymn. And it has been since adapted through the years. There's several different versions. So, here's one for us. And hopefully my allergies won't make it too froggy. If you know it, sing along. My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off song that hails the new creation. Above the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest loudly roars? I hear the truth, it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth, no storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love is Lord of heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing when tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near? How can I keep from singing? No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love is Lord of heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? Thanks.
Hey everybody, my name is Rich. I'm your Wild Neighbors Nature Connection Nature Guide, and I am so happy to be here with you all on this first day of spring. It feels like spring, doesn't it?
Feels like March.
Well, it's also, today is also special in another way. Anybody here grow up watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Yeah? Do you know today is Mr. Rogers' birthday?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so in honor of Mr. Rogers' birthday, this week I set out to find the largest neighbor I could find and the smallest neighbor I could find. Now, the largest neighbor I could find happened to be a white pine, as you might expect. The smallest neighbor I could find was this, what's called a Frullania liverwort. You guys already saw it. And it's that little tiny dot right there. That's the entire plant. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. And liverworts are ancient plants. It's good. They're
Shiny block?
yep.
Okay.
The shiny glob. So the special thing about, one of the special things about liverworts, they're non-vascular plants related to mosses, but they predate mosses by about 75 million years. They are very likely the life form that allowed plants to make the jump from living in the water to living on land. There it is. I'll give you a closer look at that later on if you want, because I also happen to have with me my trusty magnifying glass, my field lens. Now, the world, just the fact that something is this small can exist, just shows to emphasize the truth that the world and every place on this earth is so packed full of life that we can't take a single step without stepping on something that's alive. Like, it's crazy. If only we knew how small worlds could be, those of us with empathy and compassion would probably think twice about every single step that we take. It's pretty crazy. And that there is something sacred, something very sacred about noticing all the different neighbors that we share this earth with. I hope that you'll take more time to do that this week as we step into the springtime.
Thank you, Rich.
You are welcome.
So we started 2 weeks ago when we were still on Zoom, a series that I refer to as Heart and Soul, S-O-L-E, like your feet. And I chose that because what we're focusing on for these 6 weeks is connecting our heart and souls in a metaphorical way. Like connecting what do we believe, what do we think and feel with our physical actions, our moving, walking, doing. And so the first week we looked at how if we want to make a change to either of those, it's really, science has found, and we hear from ancient wisdom of various traditions, that you start with behavior to change your thinking and beliefs. And there's this guy who did the year of living biblically, A.J. Jacobs, who tried to follow every rule in the Bible for a whole year. And he said this was his biggest learning, that going through these motions that didn't make any sense, following all these seemingly silly rules, changed his beliefs, altered his beliefs, made him feel more grateful and compassionate to people. So that's sort of that started us out. That's why we're talking about spiritual practices, the things that we do to get our mind and spirit to the place that we want it to be, or to our true self, right? That's the goal of aligning our heart and soul in this way, is to live as our true selves. And we get there with spiritual practices, making some kind of connection to our higher, truest self, to the Creator, to the wild spirit, making a connection every day, hopefully, or every week, with the things that we do. And last week we heard this great quote from the Western Lama, whose name I forget. But he said, when enlightenment experiences happen, they are accidents. But spiritual practices make us accident prone. So it's the daily routines, going through the motions of these things you know are good for your spirit or soul, that will end up making you open to those enlightenment experiences that come when the spirit moves. So for the next month, we're kind of going to be taking a tour of some of these spiritual practices. Like, so what are they? What can I do? How can I make myself enlightenment prone, you know? And the first stop on our tour is music. So who here has ever had a spiritual experience that involved music? Anyone? Anyone? Are you serious?
No, I know.
You're a very musical person.
I was just reflecting.
Okay.
You don't have to share.
Yeah, no, you don't have to share. But I mean, because so many of you raised your hand, part of me felt like I don't really have to say a whole lot today, because everybody seems to get that music has this spiritual power. There is a magic to music that seems to be a universal human experience. And even, I love those videos of animals interacting with live music. There's tons of them out there. So there's something about music that connects with us in a deeper way than just words or, you know, just sounds. It's the combination of all of the things that come together to make music can enter into our souls, I think, in a deeper way than a lot of other things. And we see from science, there is a huge effect that music has on our physical bodies. They've done all kinds of studies about this, like singers in a choir, their breathing and eventually their heartbeats will even align together. Music can help like resurface memories, or folks with memory loss come alive in different ways when they hear music that they remember. And music lights up every part of our brain, and parts that don't get a lot of activity from other sources. Classical music is they found it so amazing for like brain development in kids. It expands neurons and connections. It's really good for studying and all of that. And when you just think about like the physics of it, right? Music is vibration, energy, and that's going to interact with your physical vibration and energy and have an effect. It's just going to, you know, collide with your cells and atoms and do something. And part of me has wondered about how, because music seems so universal, how did it get started? And I don't know why I tend to do this, but I often think like the first proto-humans, like what was their music? What did they do? And I've often thought, well, it must have been percussion, right? Because that's the easiest music to just start hitting something. And you realize, oh, that sounds cool. We can do this together. And I can do a different rhythm. And then all of a sudden you have stomp in a cave or something.
Yeah, it was the
Caveman stomp. It must have been the first music.
Yeah.
But I've also thought about the first song, right? How did people figure out you could sing? Because, well, Rich can sound a lot like a bird, but when I hear birds, I don't think I can sound like that. But as I have grown into my role as a parent, my claim is the first song was a lullaby. Because you will do anything to get your child to go to sleep. If you've never heard singing before, you will make any kind of sound that seems to have a positive effect. And we know, scientifically, the vibrations of a parent's chest when they're singing is soothing to a newborn baby. It mimics being in the womb and helps them fall asleep. So my theory is the first song was a lullaby to get a kid to go to sleep. But through the various history and types of music, people continue to engage it and to develop it and bring music into the world because of its power to quiet our minds in some ways and to help us connect with the Great Spirit on a different level than we normally do. And I remember, interestingly enough, one of my Quaker friends in seminary led a worship service one week. And after their traditional worship service is just mostly sitting in silence together until they're called Quakers because they would hold back until they were quaking with the message that the Spirit had for the people gathered. So you sit in silence until you are moved to speak. So after that period of time, we did end with singing a very repetitive song, similar to what we did earlier. But we did it for what felt like must have been 20 minutes. We just kept singing the same line over and over and over. And it was a meditation experience like I've never had before. It was such a deep and powerful connection to the other people in the room and just a palpable feeling of presence after a while. The words just meant nothing anymore, but we were just singing over and over and over. And so it can really be a tool that we can use for our spiritual lives. And so I wanted to also just share, as you're pondering maybe your spiritual experiences with music, I wanted to share I think I've had a lot of spiritual experiences with music, but what I think has been the most profound one, amazing, I don't think anyone will be surprised when I say it happened here at Sky Lake. There was a summer, and I think we're past like the time where we could get in trouble for talking about this, Matt. There was a summer where Sky Lake harbored some immigrants, I guess.
Yeah.
Cubans with a student visa who weren't taking classes, needed somewhere safe to be, that weren't going to send them back to Cuba. So these three wonderful music majors from Marywood, I think, somewhere nearby, were here for the summer. It was really cool. We got lots of great cross-cultural experiences with them. And I was so excited when they were invited to actually play a concert during music camp. And they just completely captivated all these kids in the room. They were so energetic, it was electric, right in there. Everybody was watching, and I was back by the fireplace, standing. And then they got to one of their last songs, it must have been, which was an original. So in Spanish, had no idea what the words were. But all of a sudden, as they began, I was completely transported by their music. You could tell they must have been playing together their entire lives. It was a classical guitar, clarinet, and a mandolin. And they played this like 10-minute song. It was mostly instrumental, but then a voice would start and this amazing 3-part harmony would come in and they would change it up and there were different rhythms and melodies. And they sang it with such passion and heart that I don't want to sound suspect when I say this, but I could see an aura around them as they played the song. It was like this circle of brilliant light just illumined them and surrounded them on the stage. And I told them afterwards that I had this incredible experience and I wanted to know what the song was about. And they were like, oh, it's just about like helping poor people or something. They were like, yeah, it's a great song and it seems like you really get it. So here's our CD for free, but don't tell anyone we gave it to you for free. So I'm so thankful that I have this because I don't think they're playing together anymore. I don't know where I could find this anymore, but I have it saved on my computer and I can go back and listen to it and immediately it transports me right back to that feeling and that vision. And that to me is the power and magic of music. I think sometimes we forget that how powerful music can be. For those of us today who can just turn on an MP3 from our phone or pop in a CD in our car, it's so easily accessible to us. But of course it wasn't always that way. And of course, once something is so accessible, it can start to lose its novelty and its power in some ways. So I hope that this week can be a reminder to you to reconnect and remember the power and magic that music holds and to really use it as a tool. And I chose the song for our wisdom, How Can I Keep From Singing, for us today, because it reminds me through good times and bad, in sorrow and grief and in love, music is there for us to connect to and to connect us to that love that prevails throughout the world. And I think that's why we keep singing through good times and bad. We keep going to music because it reminds us and it connects us to that love that is here in the world. So engage music this week. You don't have to be able to play it or sing it. You can find somebody else's music that you love and hits you deeply, but use it as a tool to meditate and connect and remember that you are a child of the great love that surrounds us. So what are we doing? What's next?
I was grabbing the
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, so another improvement we're adding here is to give everybody a moment to share whatever it is you need to let out before we go inward in meditation. So if there's something you're really excited about, a celebration, if there's something you're struggling with, or if you're worried about somebody else or a situation, feel free to share it. And if you aren't somebody who wants to share it aloud, you can write it down. We have a clipboard on the table, and we'll do this every week. So I just want to lift up Ukraine, which I think is on everybody's hearts right now. But feel free to just name it so that your community can hold it with you.
Thank you for everyone for sharing what's on your hearts, and it's easier to hold these things in community. And I invite you now to join me in a time of meditation and working with today's theme of music. I invite you to bring yourself to the present moment first by closing your eyes and opening your ears, noticing the sounds of this shared space. I invite you now to find that ever-present rhythm of your own natural breath, bringing your attention to its rising and falling. See if you can follow just one breath from beginning to end. You may have found one point in that whole breath that was most noticeable, most salient. I invite you to rest your attention on that one point, maybe the nose or the mouth where the air enters, or the rising of your chest, or the expansion of your belly. Let your attention rest on that natural rhythm. If your mind wanders from that point in the breath, that's natural. Notice that your mind has wandered away and bring it back to the rhythm of your breath. If your mind has been distracted by a sensation, a thought, or a sound, acknowledge that distraction and bring your attention back to the breath. You're welcome to continue resting in the natural rhythm of your breath. Or I invite you to join me in asking yourself a contemplative question. Ask yourself, with no expectation of a particular answer or any answer at all, what is the sound of the melody running through your life? What is the sound of the melody running through your life? The answer might come in words, images, or a sensation, or no answer at all today. I invite you now to ask this following question: where can we find harmonies to support our melody? Where can we find the harmonies that support our melody? As we let go of these contemplative questions and begin to bring our time of meditation to a close, if it feels right to you, I invite you to offer yourself gratitude for making the time for this practice, and to offer gratitude to the Spirit who resides within us and around us in these times. Whenever you're ready, I invite you to bring yourself back to the present moment by listening to the sounds around us and by slowly opening your eyes.
sun is not shining. It will be. In pure Binghamton Southern Tier fashion. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Wanna do the middle part? Sun, 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 here comes. Sun, 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 here comes. Oh, sun, 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 here comes. One more time. Sun, 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 here comes. Little darling, I feel like ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say it's alright.
The one who sings praise twice. That's our prayer that the sun will come. So what intentions do we want to set for our week ahead? A word or a phrase to guide you.
That's a great question. He said, what can we do this week? I said, I don't know.
That's a good intention. Curiosity.
Yes, exploration.
What can we not do?
Right.
Henry? That's
How many plans now? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. The snow's gone by by hopefully.
there's some really dirty looking snow over there. And there is still ice on the lake.
Not for much longer.
Yeah. It's surely not.
Because tomorrow the sun will come out.
Yeah. Yes. Although it sounds like next week might be colder than this week, so we will go indoors probably to Riley. So do not fear, and we'll let you know where to go. Any other intentions? Patience.
Thinking positive.
helpers in honor of Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. Valerie said it should be a saint day for him.
Oh.
I think we should make it so.
Yeah.
Can we declare that as far as Church in the Wild goes, this is Mr. Rogers' saint day?
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
The feast
St.
of
Rogers.
Red Robert.
Yes. Milk and
Yeah,
cookies
so.
for everyone. That just seems appropriate.
And cardigans.
Yeah. Feed your fish.
And be neighborly.
Today. Yeah. Neighborly. That's a good one, maybe. Well, whatever word or phrase you choose now or on the ride home, I hope that you will live with some intention this week and maybe with some routine, some spiritual practice. So I invite you to join or receive in this blessing, to re-embody ourselves as we go back into the world. Yeah, warm up. Deep peace of running wave to you. Deep peace of flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the source of peace to you. Peace, Shalom.